Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution episode 1585. Welcome to the weekend. Happy Saturday. I am got up early for a weekend. Okay. Got up early for a weekend. We had some thunderstorms roll through this morning. And thunderstorms always wake Ernie up. And when Ernie wakes up, he thinks it's time to go potty. So my wife actually woke up first, took him outside twice, but he got his poop and pee in, had to go in stages because it was freaking pouring. We need the rain though. We've had I guess it's a drought. I've heard the D word be thrown around, Midwest drought, but so it was nice to get some rain this morning. Red lights in the house. He says early, what, 5 a.m.? No, 6 a.m. 6 a.m. So I actually, I wanted to go back to sleep. And then I'm like, I'm just going to get up. So I got up and I've been sorting. I'm going to go live today, 1 o'clock this afternoon. Probably do lots this afternoon. I may do some big lots. I may do some like 100 card lots, depending on how much I get done. I don't have much to ship, which is good. I did go live yesterday. It was a decent show. It was a good for a Friday afternoon. It was probably on par, average. I was able to go through a lot of the dollar cards that I picked up a couple of weeks ago. We're selling for $2 to $4. You know, maybe one or two went for like $5, but you know, some went for $1. But that's kind of, you know, I've done well enough where it's like I'm just gonna blow through. Kind of like when the slabs. It's like, all right, I've got all these slabs. I've made my money. Let's just fire sale them out. So that's kind of what I was doing with the football. And wow, I'm down to just a small stack. So there'll be nice starters for today's lots, and I can source some more tomorrow at the Janesville Card Show. So I'll be set up tomorrow, Janesville, Wisconsin. I'll have some bang and dime boxes. So come out and see me in Janesville tomorrow. I'm looking forward to buying, because I'm like, I am going to skip tonight, eBay Live tonight, because I just don't have much to move. I do, you know, I can continue moving lots. But I've got to get them sleeved and sorted and organized, and it's just there's just not enough time in the day to do that. So I'm looking forward to getting some singles so I can run singles. It's not, lots are nice because I can make you know, they sell for a lot cheaper, but it sells for more. You know, I can, you know, even if it sells for $5, $3, $4. A lot of the stuff that you know, if I sold it as a single, it might only sell for $1 or $2. Lot it up, make a few bucks. Sometimes they go for a little more than that. Sometimes, shit, I had some progressives go for like $80, $90 the other day. So that's coming up today, 1 o'clock, and then tomorrow night, Sunday night, 7 p.m. Central. So card show tomorrow. Today's going to be shipping and sorting, and then tonight, and then eBay Live this afternoon. Tonight, we're going to, my wife, party, customer appreciation party or something at one of her coworkers. So going to hit that up. So I had an interesting Friday. My brake light came on a few days ago in my car, and I ignore those lights in my, because it's always wrong. Like, but this time it wasn't. So, and I noticed the brakes over the last few days haven't been as good. And then Thursday, today's Saturday. Thursday, I get a letter in the mail from Ford. There's a recall notice. It's about the brakes. I'm like, oh. So I read, it's like, the parts are not ready yet for this recall. And it's like, well, my brakes are going, like, kind of like a steady decline on my brakes. I'm like, okay, I'm going to call the dealership and be like, hey, so I got this letter and my brakes are like starting to, like, this is happening. So I take Ernie to doggy daycare yesterday morning, and they're like bad. Like my brakes had gone from like bad to worse, and like almost like when you're driving on a sheet of ice and you can't stop. Like that's kind of what my brakes are like. Like it's kind of dangerous to drive. So I was very careful driving to and from doggy daycare. And so I called the dealership and I said, hey, so I need to get a service on my brakes. And I received a notice in the mail from Ford about a recall. They're like, oh, okay. So something about the brake hose. And I'm like, so the letter says the parts aren't in. And so they're like, yeah, so we can't fix it. And I'm like, but it needs to be fixed. He's like, I go, my brakes are like going out. He goes, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, they're not working. He goes, well, what do you mean they're not working? I go, when I push the brake pedal down, it's not braking properly. It's like, how else can I explain this to you? The brakes are literally, they're not working. Like, I don't know how to, like, I don't know I don't know what you're wanting me to say. The brakes are not working. What happens? I push the pedal to the floor and it brakes very slowly. So I'm like, it's kind of like I'm on ice. Like it breaks eventually. But like, if I'm going fast and I need to brake, it's not going to happen. I'm going to rear end somebody. So you're going to have to fix it. Like, I know the letter says you don't have the parts, but you got, like, something's got to happen. So he's like, okay. He's like, well, when would be a good time? I'm like, right now would be a perfect time. Like, when can I drop it off? Because that's the best time, as soon as possible. So he's like, well, we can probably get you in Monday. I'm like, perfect. I will drop it off Sunday night. So, so I've got so fortunately we're going into, the slow season for my wife. So she's like, she doesn't have, if this was spring, I'd have to go rent a car. So I thought about like my first thought was, cause I've got the show on tomorrow in Janesville. It's like, I'll just rent a car. Although I wonder if the dealership would give me a car. I don't know. Whoever the guy was talking to, probably not. I'll have to can I talk to somebody else? So I'm going to drop it off. And my wife's like, well, I don't have anything going on. So you can take my car to the car show, my car to the card show. So, which I hate using other cars. I am not ironically, my wife and I were just talking about this the other night. Oh, I think it was when I got the letter in the mail Thursday. We were talking about, I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, she's like, how many miles are on your car and all that? And I'm like, I'm going to drive this damn thing until I'm not a car guy. Like, I don't get boners driving other people's cars. Do I think other cars are nice? Absolutely. I find vehicles practical. They get me from point A to point B. I prefer an SUV because I can load it with 300,000 sports cards and I can travel to card shows and my storage unit. I don't want a nice car because if you would take a look inside my car, I got baseball cards on the floor. I've got bottles. I'm a mess. It's just it's practicality. I don't need a fancy car. I don't want a nice car. Do I appreciate and admire nice cars? Absolutely. Don't need one. I'm going to drive this thing until I don't. So my wife's like, well, let's voice of reason. My wife is. She goes, well, I don't want you to drive it until it dies. So I do have like an extended warranty. And she's like, well, how much? She's like, we got the 7-year extended warranty. And I'm like, okay. So I bought it in 2020. I think I got it like right before COVID. I think February, like boom, got my car COVID, blame my car. So I think I've got another year and a half basically on the extended warranty, and then I'll dump it and get something new. And I'll probably, like the last vehicle I had, also a Ford Edge. Like I'm at that point in my life where I like this car. I know this vehicle. I know I can get 300,000 cards in it. I like it. So in a year and a half, I'll go shopping for another Ford Edge. And now it's like, God, now I've got to take my wife's car, and I got to be careful. Like my car, it's basically my Ford Edge is like a farm truck. That's what it is. It's a farm truck. You know, if you're from the city, you may not understand. I'm a townie, but I grew up in a town of 800 people. So it was basically a farm. You have a farm truck. You just beat the shit out of it. You drive through mud, cornfields. It smells like pig shit. You got McDonald's bags on the floor. I've got a farm truck, a farm SUV. I can just beat the shit out of it. You don't care. You throw shit in the back. You don't care. That's what I have. My wife doesn't have that. She's keeps things nice and clean. And now it's like, God, and I take my own tables to the card show. So I'm loading all these boxes into my wife's nice, clean car. And I got to throw tables in there, and it's my signage. It's like, God, I've got to be careful. I've got to take an extra 30 seconds to be careful. Where my car, I can just throw it in. Oops, scratch the seats or scratch the panel. Now I got to be careful. So I also need to run to my storage unit. I'm gonna attempt to take my car sans brakes to my storage unit and pick up. I think I've got 20 boxes there, and I've got a bunch of boxes here because I just want to blow out a bunch of this shit for Janesville tomorrow. So that's on the docket today as well. So that's my little vehicle story. So hey, I saw something last night that I've never seen before. So my alma mater was playing the Havana Ducks Friday night football. It was homecoming at Wethersfield. So my high school and the neighboring high school, we were rivals when I was in school. Now we're friends. Now we're teammates. It's Anawan Wethersfield, the Titans. No more flying geese. No more Anawan Braves, at least for football. So it was homecoming at Wethersfield High School last night, home game, and we were up 21-0 at the end of the first quarter. I think they've changed it since I was covering high school football in Illinois. It used to be running clock. Once you got to 40 points in the second half, like if you were up 42-0 in the second quarter, it was normal. But then the second half was going to be all running clock, and it never reverted back once you got like a 40-point lead. And I think they've slightly changed it where I think it's a 40-point lead at any point in the game. I'm not sure, but I think they changed that. And I think they also added like a 20 in the first quarter, 20 points, which doesn't seem like enough, but maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm imagining things, but I feel like they had a running clock the last couple minutes of the first quarter. And then, so we were up 42-0 at halftime, 42-0 at halftime. They came out and the announcers said that they're skipping the third quarter. Now, I've heard of teams forfeiting at halftime. Like, just say, we've got too many injuries, or, we don't want to get our kids hurt for safety reasons. We're just going to quit at halftime. Like, that's happened. I've seen that. I've heard of that happening in Illinois high school football. But I've never seen the coaches and referees decide to just skip a quarter and fast forward the game. But that happened last night. So Anawan was up 42-0 at halftime. They come out and decide to skip the third quarter. Now, they had the head coach on at after the game, and who's a distant cousin of mine, which I didn't know until I took the ancestry thing. And all of a sudden, it's like, hey, we're cousins. Because usually you go through ancestry and it's like, you don't know. It's like, oh, wait, I know them. Anyway, so he said after the game that although I bet everybody in Anawan is related. So he said that I can't remember, so I may be misquoted. What I understand, this could be a game of telephone. How I understood it was Havana wanted to save their underclassmen because they have a game, I think a freshman game today, maybe on Saturday. So they didn't want them to play 2 full quarters Friday night and another 4 quarters on Saturday. So I think the intent was they wanted to play their starters, their upperclassmen in the third quarter. And Anawan was like, no, we're not going to because we're not going to do that. We don't want to put our underclassmen up against your starters for the third quarter. How about we just, because we also have a game on Saturday, how about we just fast forward to play 1 more quarter? And that's what they did. The referees are like, yeah, we can do that. And it was a running clock. So it was a really fast game. And the final score ended up being 42-0. So my alma mater now 4-0. Now they've got a gauntlet. Now they've got 3 because Havana was the only. So, and I don't know what the teams were going into last night. Their opponents, their first 3 opponents were combined 0-9, 0-3 each. And then Havana came in, they were 1-2 before last night. So I don't know how the other teams did I know Bureau Valley lost last night, so they're 0-4. Havana's 1-3. Abingdon Avon, I'm not sure who they played or how they did, and who was the other game they played. Abingdon Avon was week 1. Bureau Valley, who they played? Oh, United. I don't know how United did. So anyway, enough high school football talk. Go Titans. I'd love to get down to homecoming at Anawan because at least 2 of my classmates have kids that are on the team. My friend Jason, his kid's a stud. He had another great game. He's going to be an all-stater. And then my friend Chuck's kid is, I think, a sophomore, and he's his backup at linebacker. And then I'm trying to think of who else. And then I have several other people I went to school with have kids that are on the team. I don't know if I have any other classmates that are on the team. Classmates that have kids that are on the team, but it's fun. And of course, you go back to your reunion, and it's been like a lot of these classmates. It's been 10 years since I've seen them, and you get to talk. It's like it's like 10 years. I mean, when you grow up in a small town and you go to school from like preschool at the age of 4 and graduate, and then half of them I went to college with at junior college. They're like brothers and sisters, so it's always fun to reconnect. Happy Saturday. Let's go to the chat. Red lights in the house from the Crane. Good morning. I have not come across any 75 tops. There's probably some somewhere. In fact, that's actually, I'm glad you mentioned that again, because I do have some boxes that I think I want to lot up. Some hockey. I've got some hockey that people ask about on a constant basis. So, Max, that's basically what happens. I press the pedal, the car doesn't stop. Like, how else can I explain it to you? Chris says a real man can replace his own brakes. I think Chris says this tongue in cheek. Red light says, you're the fucking mechanic, so fix. Right. My brakes don't work. Fix it. Tell him that. Max says a smart man has enough money to pay someone else to do it for him. Amen. Cooter, good morning. Red light says, my wife always tells me I need a new truck. Fuck that. I will drive my 2000 truck till the wheels fall off. My first adult vehicle, and I say that because my first car when I was 16 was a 1989 Pontiac Sunbird, just a beater. And I drove that in high school. And then once I went to college, I got a new car, not a new used car, and it was sleek. It was a Dodge 96, 95 or 96. I'm sure I've talked about this before. 95 or 96 Dodge Avenger is a fucking lemon. Piece of shit. I spent more money in service bills than I did on the actual vehicle itself. So then when I got a real job in after college at the radio station, if you consider that a real job. I mean, my baseball card business is more of a real job than what my radio job was. But I splurged, couldn't afford it. That was my first lesson in finance. Don't buy shit you can't afford. But I bought a brand new Ford Explorer by the way, my first radio job, $17,000 a year. And I'm buying a brand new Ford Explorer, which I think was probably about what I think the full price was about what I was making a year in radio. Dumb. My parents were very passive, and they're like, they allowed me to make my own mistakes and learn from my mistakes. They didn't tell me, don't do that. That's not smart. We're not going to allow you to do that. They're like, you shouldn't do that, but we're going to let you do that, and you're going to learn. And that's what happened. Then, since I couldn't afford it, I made it work, and I pushed that motherfucker until it died. Like, it literally died in the parking lot at work. By that time, I think I was at the university. I drove that thing for like 12 years, had 190,000 miles on it. I think it had like 90 miles or 300 miles on it when I bought it. And that oh man, I took that thing all over the state. I don't know if I ever went out of state with it though, but I drove it all over the state of Illinois. That thing knew every highway and back road in the state. And I drove that thing until the wheels fell off. I think the wheels literally fell off my Dodge Avenger twice. I think that was a recall thing they had, but that thing was a fucking and it's funny that my first like adult car was a Ford. My dad was a Chevy guy. My dad was a heavy Chevy guy. And like everybody gave my dad shit because I bring home a Ford and there's a Ford in the driveway. And eventually my mom loved my Ford Explorer, and she ended up getting a Ford. It wasn't an Explorer. I think it wasn't an Edge. I don't think they had an Edge yet. Escape. So my mom got a Ford Escape, and then there was a Ford in the garage next to my dad's Chevy. Next to the bumper sticker on his wall that said, "I'd rather push a Chevy than drive a Ford." And I think I've driven a Ford ever since. I think every vehicle I've owned since 2003 has been a Ford, which is kind of because I had the Ford Explorer forever. And then I had a Ford a Ford Escape. And now I've had two Ford Edges. So for 22 years, I've driven a Ford. Have you driven a Ford lately? Cooter says, better not scuff the leather seats with 4.0 boxes. Luxury leather is thin. I think they should all fit in the back in the cargo hold. Cooter said the car doesn't know how old it is. It only knows how many miles it has if it's well maintained. Still rocking a 2013, 2010, and 1966 Ford. There you go, Ford guy Cooter. Chris says I've had two cars since 1998. Holy shit. I thought my stretch on the Explorer, but I've had, the Sunbird, the Avenger, the Explorer, the Escape, Edge, and Edge. I'm on 6 since 98 is when I turned 16. So I've had 6 vehicles since I turned 16. Timothy, what's up? Good morning. Bo is not going to shave till the Bears win a game. I'll do that. I'll do that. I will not shave until the Bears are going to win because they're going to win tomorrow. I'll wait till Monday to shave though. Well, I have to because the Bears aren't going to win until Sunday afternoon. I'll do that. I'll hold off shaving until the Bears win because they're going to beat the Cowboys. Cooter says, sure, add weight to a car with bad brakes. Big smarts. Well, fortunately, the storage unit's only like 2 miles, maybe 3 miles at most. Although there's a few stop signs that if no brakes. Cooter says, okay, State fans are calling for Gundy's mullet on a platter. Gem City, good morning. Chris says they could have decided to just end the game after the third quarter. That is, I wonder what the thought process, that's a good follow-up question that was not asked. Maybe it would not be a full game. Maybe it would not be a full game if they ended the game after the third quarter, which they did. And I guess we can't call it a quarter because there were only 3 periods or stanzas. That is interesting. So I texted my one of my classmates. We were texting back and forth during the game, and so he said, "My son's gonna probably play a lot in the second half. He's number 5. Look out for him." Okay, cool. So when the announcers talk about they're going to skip the third quarter and go straight to the fourth quarter, I'm like, well, that sucks for my buddy. His kid's only going to get to play one drive. And so I'm like, I've never seen this before. This is really bizarre. They're skipping the third quarter. And he goes, no, I think the scoreboard's wrong. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I'm like, but the announcers keep saying they're going to end the game after this quarter. And he goes, really? And then all of a sudden it's like, final horn, I'm like, that's the game. I'm like, huh. So my buddy, and so when you're at the game, you don't know what's going on because apparently they didn't like announce it at the PA didn't announce that, hey, this is the last quarter. We're going to end the game after this quarter. It was just like, surprise, we're going to end the game right now. So my buddy texts, he's like, do you know why they ended? I'm like, so then when the coach came up for the interview, I texted him back and I said, here's what the coach said. Max says, Tim, he won't be able to do it. G word guaranteed. G word. What's the G word? Gundy? That 70s card show has appeared. Will there be separate parking for TCG and ball card people next week? I don't want my Jeep parked next to Kia Souls. Madison Card Show next week. Madison Pokemon Show on Sunday. So a week from today is the Madison Card Show at the Madison Marriott South, formerly named the Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive. So come out and see us on Saturday, a week from today. 9 to 3 free admission, free parking. You may have to park next to a Kia Soul. Tomorrow, a week from tomorrow, is the Madison Pokemon Show. Madison Marriott South on John Nolan Drive, also 9 to 3, also free admission and free parking, and you may have to park next to a Kia Soul. John says, is there any chance you were just blackout drunk during the third quarter? No, I was drinking water unless somebody spiked my water. Unless there was vodka in my water spout, I was not blackout drunk. Sheena, good morning. Mega Milwaukee show today. Yes, the mega show. I don't have brakes, so I can't drive that far. I wouldn't have gone anyway. eBay Live this afternoon. John says, your hair looks great. I hope the 21 Jump Street audition goes well. This is called Bedhead. I'm wearing the same shirt I wore yesterday also. I've not showered. John says, I envisioned there were fewer people in the stands than in one of the huddles. No, it was homecoming, so it was a big crowd last night. Small school football. I mean, that's what you do in a small town. Like you go to the high school football game. There's nothing else to do. I mean, you could go to the diner and have some coffee. You could go hang out at the gas station, although I don't think they allow that. They don't allow loitering anymore. That's about it. On a Friday night in Anawan, there's not much going on. I guess you could go to the two bars that are in town, Front Street Tap and Mix Place. They've got a pretty good ice cream place, cupcakes and ice cream, I think. What's it called? What's it called? I've honestly never been in. I've had their stuff. It's good. When I was in high school, it was called the Sugar Shack. Unfortunately, it was only ice cream. That was the only sugar they served. Chris says the third, fourth quarter conversation sounds like Spinal Tap. It goes to 11. Max says, G word for us in the financial industry, as you said yesterday, is the word guarantee. Can't say it ever. Guarantee. Can't believe they ran that mega show one day again. Obviously, I opted out along with plenty of others. Pewaukee show today too. Yeah, I found that really bizarre. Like, I know it's difficult to avoid scheduling around, but I think they set up at each other's shows too, so I found that a little bizarre. But hey, card shows are hot right now, so strike while the iron is hot. So good luck. So yeah, that's about all I had for today. No card shows for me today, but I will be in Janesville tomorrow. Janesville, Wisconsin, Holiday Inn Banquet Center, just off the interstate. I'll be set up right in the front door. I'll have those boxes behind me. You'll see those. Those will be dime boxes. There's some good stuff in there. I can show you what's in here. I'll just take a box off the top. Oh, a bunch of 77 tops. These are all 77 tops, a dime a piece. They are all commons. There's some first Bowmans. These do not sell well on eBay Live. Some first Bowman. These are new too. These are last year. Bowman Draft, I think. So actually, a whole bunch of. There's some other Bowman. We got some Topps Heritage. Some refractor stuff. So I've got a whole bunch of good stuff. But come out and see me. Janesville, Wisconsin tomorrow. I'll have my dime boxes. So yeah. And then eBay Live, I'll do a live today at 1:00, probably mostly lots this afternoon. And then tomorrow night I'll run singles. I'm looking to buy a ton tomorrow. I'm going to try to buy, I'd like to get good bulk. I'd like to buy a lot of good stuff. Like, I don't want to just buy bulk and cherry pick it myself. So I'm looking to do some cherry picking. I'd like to buy some slabs, maybe some autos. I don't know. I might even dabble in some. I think I'm going to do a wrestling only show next week, probably a daytime show, just kind of test the waters. So I might buy a few like wrestling autos. Like, if I can find some cheap autos, like $20, $10 to $20 wrestling stuff, may go into that. Oh, you know what else is this weekend? The big Iowa show. The big Iowa Des Moines multi-day show is also today. I know a lot of people are over there. Let's see. Max says only one guy never has a bad show. LOL. Said he had a good show last time it was run. Wonder if it got over 250 tables this time. I would be curious. Only one dealer said he had a good show last time. Oof. So yeah, I don't know. I'm sure I know a bunch of people that are over there, but it didn't seem like it had as much buzz this time around as the last show. Just based on like social media, it seemed like there was a lot more buzz for the first show they ran. So that's about all I had for today. eBay Live today, 1:00, Janesville Card Show tomorrow. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. There were some topics that I wanted to talk about, but I can't remember what they were. So I'll save it for another day if I can remember. I probably would be if I was closer, but 3 hours one way and turn around and do Janesville tomorrow is too much. Yeah. That's, and I'm like, I don't do shows. Like if I had brakes on my car, I might go check it out today. And basically I say that because I don't like the stuff I'm going to run on eBay Live today is like lots. Like I don't really have much I can run for singles. So I definitely need inventory. So it would be, you know, it would be nice, but I mean, I could figure out a way to get over there, but yeah, I'll do an eBay Live. And I mean, I could probably make a good amount of money today on junk. I was checking my numbers. My numbers are still pretty strong. My September is lacking. I think my projections for this month, I think I'm going to have a really nice payday on Monday, but I didn't have a payout yesterday. Actually, you know what? I can probably look up. Let's just see what I have waiting to go in. So today's the 20th, 21st, and the 22nd will be my payout. So let's see. And let's divide this by what, 22? Okay, so yeah, it's my September is lacking behind August, which is not surprising because there's one less day. So it's actually, my September is like right at my July. My projections for September is like on par with July, which July, I was on vacation for a week and then was gone for a few days at the end of the month at the National. So not a good September. Now, I've also only spent like $500 on inventory in the month of September. So that so when I look at my net profit, I probably have, although I don't think I spent much. Well, if National, I did. You know what? Let's see what my expenses were. At least just my inventory expenses. Cash purchases. I need to get these in a spreadsheet. Well, I spent a lot of money in July. So yeah, my net profit. Actually, I didn't spend that much. My net profit is going to be not way higher, but significantly more. And then if you count the first day of the National, yeah, my net profit for September will be significantly higher than July, just based on what I spent in July. But I didn't spend much in August. In August, I had my best month ever. But, and this is why I do the cash method, because, where my July net profit is not as high, most of that went into my August sales numbers. And while I didn't spend much in August, a lot of that inventory was acquired in July. So it makes my July net profit look lower, makes my August and September profits look much, much higher. So even though my sales numbers, I lost my screen. Even though where am I at? There we are. So even though my sales numbers are going to be on par with July, my net profit is going to be higher. Let's see. Max says it wasn't worth the drive hotel last time. That sucks. I hate that. I did that. The only time I've ever set up as a dealer at a multi-day show, in a multi-day show, where this one, it's not a multi-day show, was there's been a couple. Both were in Rockford at the indoor soccer center. And neither time was it worth it for me to get the hotel basically like what I made the second day at the show, whether it was Saturday or Sunday? Because I think they did a couple. I think the first one was the first show was a Friday, Saturday, and then I think the next two were Saturday, Sunday. And the second day, like I don't think I made. Now the first show I did really well. I crushed it on that first night. And I'm like, man, if I made this much on a Friday night, because it's only like half a day, man, I'm going to cruise on Saturday. And I think I made enough to cover my hotel, but it wasn't. It's like, man, I could have just skipped the day. Now I was running. If it were like fast forward to now, it would have been a giant waste of time because I could have made way more money on eBay Live than, what I was doing selling on Buy It Now and selling at the card show. But then it was like, didn't really matter. But then the next two shows the second show was much less. I did really well on that first day. The Sunday, not good at all. I don't think the next two shows I didn't even make my hotel on the second day of the show. It's like, I should have just left. So that's the trickiness about 2-day shows, 3-day shows. Like there's usually a lot of excitement for the first one. And then it's like, well, I got all my stuff. That's why I think like 250 to 300 tables, if you have long enough hours, is the perfect, especially now. And I think just kind of comparing it to like my show at the Alliant, where it's 250 tables, but half of them are Pokemon, half of them are sports. So really, if you're only into sports cards, it's only a 125 table show. You can get through that in a long, and I extend the hours from 9 to 5. Now the sports room's shut down by 1 because nobody's in there and they're leaving early. Maybe nobody's coming because they know they're leaving early. I don't know. But the Pokemon room's still booming at 4 o'clock. So, if I tried doing my show as 2 days, I think it would be a giant waste of time to do a 2-day show with 250 tables. Then when you get to, if you try to do a 400 table show in 1 day, now that's a little slippery slope because there's not enough time. Even if you're going 9 to 5, there's just not enough time. Even if it is 200 tables and 200 tables, you're starting to, I think that equilibrium point is somewhere around 300 tables if you're running both sports and Pokemon. If it's all sports and it's 300 tables, then I think a multi-day show is fine. Max says, I netted out okay, but the 6 hours on the roads negates a lot of it. Hate to say that because I like Tony, but anything over 200 tables is tough for attendees to get to everything. I agree with that. If it's all sports or it's all Pokemon, it is definitely difficult. I think it was only a week after Oak Creek, only a limited dollar amount to go around per show. I agree. And we're seeing more and more shows, but we're not like, I'm not seeing, and I'm just speaking from my own. Now, I don't do a lot of shows anymore. What I started to see is a lot less bargain box diggers. Like, and I'm trying to think through this. The big show, one of the bigger shows I did in the spring was in whatever town it is, DuPage County Fairgrounds. I can't remember what city it is, but the DuPage County Fairgrounds, Wheaton. I think it's in Wheaton. I had like nobody digging, and fortunately, I was like, that was just on. I was on the cusp of. I was in talks with eBay about going on the live platform, so I was starting to acquire and buy inventory for live streaming. If I wasn't doing that, it was a giant. And I even said, like, back then, I'm like, I would not do this show again because was it well attended? Absolutely. Were people spending money? Yes. Were they spending money on bargain boxes? No. Which was also good for me because I was able to dig and find good stuff even in the afternoon. There was not many people there looking at bargain boxes. And I've started to see that more and more. And it kind of goes, it ebbs and flows. I've seen, there was a time a year ago, a year and a half ago, maybe even 2 years ago, where all of a sudden it's like people weren't looking at showcases. showcase dealers were bringing a few bargain boxes, and they're like, nobody was even looking at my showcases. They were all looking through my dollar boxes. And I think we're going back to kind of a showcase where people are looking more at showcases than digging in boxes. I'm interested to see tomorrow how things fare for me. I will have better stuff at cheaper prices. Now, I'm going to have a lot of junk mixed in as well. They are dime boxes after all. So it'll be interesting to see how I do. The last Janesville show, I didn't do shit. But I don't set up at this show to make money as a dealer. I go there just to kind of make some money, offset some of my purchases. I'm there as a buyer. I like to get there early. I like the show. It's close to me. It's a 35-minute drive. I enjoy it. And it gets me out once every 2 months or whenever they hold the show, because I don't do any other shows. But I did notice the last couple of times that I'll have people digging, but I'm not seeing the big spenders. I'm not seeing somebody come in and buying $300 worth of cards or even $100 worth of cards. I'm seeing a lot of, let me just take a look in because I track everything on a spreadsheet so I can pay my taxes. August. I did 10 transactions out of my bargain boxes in August, at the Janesville show in August. I did, and I'm going to tell you my exact numbers. 53, 63, 83, 103, 128, 130, $165. They did $165 in sales. Now, that's $165 in sales from dime cards. So that's, a significant amount of cards, because it's more than, it's not like I'm charging 10 cents per card, but that's probably that's 1650 multiplied out. That's probably over 2,000 cards I sold. Well, it's actually more than that, because I sold a box for $50. So yeah, in some of these numbers, I sold a box for $50. The rest of my transactions, $3, $5, $5, $20, $25, $20, which is a lot of cards for, when you're talking dime cards, $2, $30, $5. What was the last show I did? June. No. Actually, that was the first show I had done since DuPage, I think. That was not in. Yeah. I had 21 transactions in DuPage, and shit, I might have made less than 200 at this show. My biggest transaction was $25, and these were quarter cards. So I did 30. This was DuPage County Fairgrounds. I did 30, 32, 37, 38, 48, 49, 59, 60, 62, 68, 75, 77, 89, 90, 98, 100, 101, 106, 112, 137. I only did $137 at that show at DuPage County. No wonder I said I wasn't going back. That's bad. And that's 2 hours there, 2 hours back. Let's see. And then Janesville, February, that's February 2023. So, Janesville, February 2025. Oh, wow. I did really well at the February show. I did 33 transactions. And I had quite a few bigger, like $20 and up, I would say, on quarter cards is good. So I had a $40 transaction, 30, 20, 70, 30, 40, 25, 20, 20. And then there were a lot of $10 and $15 transactions. So there you go. So yeah, I just see a lot less. And it's not like my inventory doesn't, it's not very stagnant. I'm taking new stuff for the most part, each show. But since I'm, tomorrow's going to be mostly new, well, with the exception of what I have in my storage unit. Where are we at? Max says you'd make more sales if you were at your table. That could be true. I'm never at my table. That could be true. Buyer behavior in Pokemon has changed quite a bit over the last month or so. Interesting. How so? I'm curious how buyer behavior has changed in the Pokemon market. So I'm really curious how things go tomorrow. I think I will have more. I may have only 10 transactions tomorrow, 15 transactions, but I think there will be more volume sales. I think people will sit and dig, hopefully. But again, if I only do $160 in sales, like I'm okay with that. I want to get rid of cards. And I'd like to offset. I mean, the more money I make, the less I have to spend, the less money, I'm taking out of my card account. So that's always good, but so we'll see. I'll probably have to I should go to the bank today because I do want to spend a lot of money. I don't think I have much cash on hand. So maybe I should run to the bank today. All right. So that's what I had for today. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. See me in Janesville, No Hobby Evolution tomorrow morning. I will be in Janesville, Wisconsin, Janesville Card Show. Come out and see me, dig through my dime boxes. I'll be back to review it on Monday morning. I'm on eBay Live today at 1 p.m. Central, so come out and see me at eBay Live today. Mostly lots, I think, I'll be running this afternoon, so come check it out on eBay Live. And I'll have some really good stuff, hopefully. If I can find good stuff tomorrow at the show, I'll have good stuff tomorrow night on eBay Live. Probably start at 7:30 tomorrow night. I think that's a good time to start on Sundays. So, all right, have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you back here on Hobby Evolution Monday morning.